Y'all know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin with DreAllDay.com. We are back with the next installment, the most controversial series in all of the internet. This is the top 5 players at every position in the NBA, and today we are talking small forwards. Now, I'm using these positions just so everybody knows. I said this in every video because y'all saw the point guards and the shooting guards already. I'm doing the positions based on where ESPN puts everybody as their position. So I went on ESPN.com, the fantasy basketball section, because my guy B got me in this fantasy basketball game that I'm doing this year. These dudes be taking this thing way too serious. But anyway, on the rankings of the players, they got every player. They have multiple positions that player plays, or one position that player plays. Some players they have at multiple positions. For example, Steph Curry is listed as a point guard and a shooting guard. James Harden, a shooting guard and a point guard. LeBron James, small forward, power forward, etc., etc. Whatever position they're listed at first, the primary position, that's where I'm putting everybody by category for these rankings. So if you disagree with the position, I don't care. We ain't got to argue about it in the comments. Go email ESPN.com and take it up with them. All right, so now we going into the small forward position. These are players who are listed as a small forward as their primary position. So if it's someone you're thinking of who's not listed here, maybe they were already in the shooting guards, or maybe they coming in the power forwards. But I think actually the small forwards, this position is actually pretty, I would say overall, kind of accurate with as far as how I've seen these players from my perspective in my life. So let's get right into this. I think this one actually has there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of talent here, but let's get into who we got. Number one, obviously small forward, got to be LeBron James. I don't think there's any discussion for this. I don't think I need to justify this. LeBron James is the best player in the world. He's better than Steph Curry. He's better than James Harden. He's better than whoever else you want to name. He's the best. He just won the championship. He was the MVP. He led the entire finals, both teams in points, rebounds, steals, blocks, and assists. I mean, and he won the championship. I don't think there's anything else you can do. What else can you do to supersede that? LeBron James is the best player. So he's the best player out of everybody in every position. So we ain't got to talk too much about LeBron. Let's go to the number 2 spot. Number 2, he's still in the number 2 spot, at least for now, is Kevin Durant. And I think maybe he'll hold on to the number 2 spot, but we got to see. Kevin Durant obviously has been the second best small forward in the league, man, for a while. LeBron James has been the best. Kevin Durant's never passed LeBron James. I know Kevin Durant won the MVP that one year, but he wasn't better than LeBron James. He didn't win the championship when he went against LeBron, and LeBron got 3 rings. Kevin Durant has 0 rings. And Kevin Durant just blew a 3-1 lead and then signed with the team that beat him. So even if Kevin Durant goes and wins a ring with Golden State, how much weight can we give to Kevin Durant's ring when he was just about to beat this team, then he left them and go play with them? Like, it's like I don't even know what other parallel I can come up with a parallel if I think about it. But we're not really talking about KD to Golden State. But just the fact is, how much longer can KD hold on to the number 2 spot at this position when the guys he's above didn't do what he just did? Go to a team that already got how many All-Stars? Golden State had 3 All-Stars last year. You go join a team with 3 All-Stars that just beat you in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, how can we still call him the number 2 small forward? Maybe, depending on how the guys that are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this list, how they perform, maybe they can take KD's spot, not necessarily because they have more skill, but because, listen, they doing it on the team where they're counting on to be the guy, and there's a big gap between them and whoever the other guys are. When Kevin Durant's joined the team, he got a 2-time MVP, the second best 3-point shooter in the history of the league in terms of number of threes made in Klay Thompson, another All-Star in Draymond Green, Finals MVP off the bench in Iguodala. So, like I said, KD's joining a team that's already stacked. I don't know if he's going to hold on to this number 2 spot, but it's not really all based on KD. It's really based on number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this list. Number 3, let's get to them. Kawhi Leonard. I put Kawhi Leonard at number 3. I almost put Kawhi at number 2, but I didn't quite go there just yet because I feel Kawhi got to go a whole season at least being the clear, undisputed number 1 guy on his team. Kevin Durant's been that guy. Kawhi Leonard is, I think he's the number 1 guy on the Spurs. I think. You got LaMarcus Aldridge over there. You still got Tony Parker and now Pau Gasol. I don't think Pau's going to take over that spot. But I think Kawhi's got to step up and be like the clear number 1 guy. Like, it shouldn't be like it's Kawhi and LaMarcus. It should be, damn, it's Kawhi, then it's LaMarcus. If he's going to move up to the number 2 spot or even compete for it, or if the Spurs even going to win it, if the Spurs are going to be title contenders without Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard going to have to step up and be like the man. Like, I think he's the man, but I think he needs to be the man in all capital letters. I'm not sure he didn't do that last year. Can he do it this year? We'll see. But he does have to step up. He's going to get anywhere past the number 3 spot, or make sure he's not overtaken by the number 4 guy who I put on this list, Draymond Green. Draymond Green, the number 4 guy on this list. Now, we know he plays multiple positions, but he came in the game as a small forward, and ESPN sees him as a small forward, so that's why we're going by this. And being on the team, sharing the floor with Kevin Durant, sharing the floor with Curry, and sharing the floor with Klay Thompson. We'll see what Draymond does this year. I think my prediction this year is I think Draymond Green is the guy whose usage and his impact is going to suffer the most from Kevin Durant's arrival, because Kevin Durant can handle the ball. Kevin Durant can shoot. Kevin Durant can create his own shot. And Draymond was doing a lot of creating for other people. And there was a lot of times they just ran their offense through Draymond and let him pass it around. But now you got a guy like KD. I'm not sure how long KD's just going to stand in the corner or spot up. KD's going to want to go do his thing himself too. So I think Draymond's usage is going to suffer the most on this team, because Klay's still going to be Klay. He's going to do Klay things. He don't need to have the ball all the time. Steph Curry is still, I believe, the best player on this team. He's still going to do Steph Curry things. He better do Steph Curry things. And Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is better than Draymond Green. So if push comes to shove, Kevin Durant got to get the ball before Draymond. I think his production is going to suffer the most because of KD. Not to say Golden State won't win better, won't be a better team because of KD, but I think Draymond's production will suffer the most just by being on KD's team. And he may lose his spot as number 4 on this list coming into the season after this one, because the number 5 guy on this list, Carmelo Anthony, may have a chance to move himself up. Now, Carmelo Anthony used to be a top 3 guy on this list. It used to be LeBron, KD, Carmelo, or even LeBron, Carmelo, KD sometimes. But Carmelo's dropped to number 5 on my list simply because Carmelo Anthony got to win some damn basketball games. Carmelo wanted to be the guy. He is the guy. Carmelo Anthony wanted to play for the Knicks. He plays for the Knicks. He wanted his max contract. He got his max contract, and his team was trash. Now, part of the reason the team was trash is because the Knicks had to empty the cupboard to get Carmelo Anthony. They had to give up some assets to get Melo, and that was back when he first got there. But they still suffering from that. Now, there's been some bad front office work that isn't Carmelo's fault. But listen, Carmelo, you wanted this. You wanted this bed. You got to sleep in this bed. Now, you want to be a max guy. You want to be looked at as a superstar. And he's in the same draft as LeBron, Wade, Bosh. Listen, dude, you got to win some games as the man. You got to win some games as the man. Now, they added Derrick Rose. Who knows what we're getting out of Derrick Rose? Added Joakim Noah. Who knows what you're getting out of Joakim Noah? The Knicks, I want to give all you New York fans something that I said in the Knicks preview. There isn't much team past these 3 guys. The Knicks don't have too much of a team besides these 3 guys. I think it's going to be a tough season for the New York Knicks, despite the fact that they got these big name guys, D Rose, Joe Noah, and of course Carmelo Anthony. Now, I did kind of let on the possibility that Brook Lopez might be better than Carmelo Anthony in the next video. Okay, I'm going to have to go back on that. Brook Lopez is not better than Carmelo Anthony. All right, just so it's said. But Carmelo Anthony, listen, Carmelo Anthony does not have immunity to be immunity right now as a superstar. His team win no games. Like, you can't be a superstar in your prime and you can't get your team to the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference. I don't care what conference. You're a prime dude making a max contract, looked at as a superstar. You got to get your team to the playoffs. Carmelo didn't do it last year. We got to look at that. We can't just act like that didn't happen. Now, he got Derrick Rose on his team. Again, who knows what you're getting out of Derrick Rose? And Joe Noah, again, who knows? Melo got to step his game up. I mean, he's number 5. I think he's better skill-wise than Draymond Green. I think he's better skill-wise than Kawhi Leonard. But Carmelo, you got to win some damn games. He got to step up his leadership game up. That's what Carmelo got to do. So he's number 5. Number 6 on the list, who I think he can surpass Carmelo, I believe. If Carmelo don't make the playoffs again this year, he will surpass Carmelo if his team makes the playoffs. That is Mr. PG-13, Paul George, Indiana Pacers. I don't like how Paul George's team failed to close out the Toronto Raptors in the first round last year. They was up 3-2. They had them. They had a home game to close it out. They failed. They had a road game 7. They failed to close it out. And Paul George is the best player on that team, so it's on him. You're the best player. You're a max guy. You're a superstar. It's on you when your team comes up short. Yeah, I know your team might be garbage. I know such and such player might not have did his thing. I know it might be the coach's fault. I know. But if you're the man, it's on you. It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. If you want to be the man, this is what it is. And if you want to be on this top 5 list, I'm considering you to be the man on your team. Even if there's another guy on the list or in a different top 5, different position, You want to be a man or the man is on you. And Paul George, they should have got out the first round last year. They should have finished the Raptors off just because they was up 3-2. Not even to say they had a better team than the Raptors or such and such is better than such and such on whatever team. You up 3-2, you got a home game to close it out. You got to close it out if you're the man. And I think Paul George is better than DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. I think he was the best player on the floor in that series. His team didn't close it out. Paul George kind of loses a mark for that. That's why I put him at number 6. And I'm going past top 5 here because I got a clear 7 guys. Here's number 7, the Greek Freak, Giannis. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. The Greek Freak, I think, could move up. He could pass Paul George. He could pass Melo. He could pass Draymond. Shit, he could even pass Kawhi Leonard. I think he could pass everybody except KD and LeBron this year, I think. But here's what has to happen. This team got to win some games. They got to make the playoffs, and they got to actually do something in the playoffs. Not necessarily win in the playoffs. They ain't got to win a playoff series. I don't think that they will, but they got to at least win a couple games in the playoffs, especially depending on who they playing against. I say they can win. They playing against anybody but the Cavs in the first round. I think the Bucks can. They got to win at least 2 games if they playing against a tough powerhouse team who comes out and surprises us in the East this year. Besides Cleveland. Any other team besides that, I say they got to win at least 3 games. 2 or 3 games they got to win in the first round, even if they lose. If I'm going to take Greek Freak seriously, if I'm going to seriously consider moving him into the top 5, he got to win some games in the playoffs. You got to win playoff games, not just make it, but win games. And for that reason, I think Paul George and Melo is a little bit closer than originally thought, even when I made this list. Paul George and Carmelo is not that big of a gap. Paul George took his team to the playoffs. Paul George won some playoff games, even though he blew it when they should have won the whole series. Melo, hey, has Melo been in a, when's the last time Melo was in a Game 7 in the playoffs? Somebody fact check me on it. I think Melo's team has made the playoffs. They ain't really been a threat. They ain't really did nothing. Like, have you really considered that they was gonna win? And Melo's the man. So that's it. That's my whole list. There's no honorable mention for small forward. That's it. The list that I just gave you right there, that's everybody that I want to mention. That's the top 7 in the small forward position in the NBA. Did I miss anybody? Is there someone who I left out who should be on that list? Is there someone who should have been ahead of somebody else? Do I have the list in the wrong order? All right, so LeBron James is not the best. We're not even asking that question. I think the top 2 is pretty clean. I think the top 2 is pretty solid. He's going into the season. Number 3, now that's when anywhere between 3 and 7, you got some conversation. I think 3, 4, 5, and 6, there's a conversation. I think Giannis, Greek Freak, I think he's at number 7. I think he belongs there because he got to win. You got to win, and you got to go a whole season as the best player on your team. And Giannis hasn't done either one of those yet. He got to go the whole year as the clear best guy. He emerged last year, but he wasn't the clear guy from the beginning to the end. He got to do that this year, and they got to win some games. Just being the best player and losing don't matter. You got to win. So he got to do both. But between Kawhi, Draymond, Melo, and Paul George, I think those are interchangeable. You tell me what you think. Who I got right, what I got wrong. Did I forget somebody completely? Is there any order of this? This is completely ridiculous. Let me know. Leave it down there in the comments. Next, we're going to the power forward. Not the Paul, but the power forward position. At ESPN, between center and power forward, they got some things that even surprised me, but we gonna make it work. I might put the centers and the power forwards in the same video. How about that? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do power forwards and centers in the same video. Forget it. Because they got them as, I'm gonna do each list. I'm gonna do power forward 5 and center 5, but the way that they did it, it surprised me where they put certain guys as 4s and some guys as 5. So I'll do that as one video so everybody's like, yo, you forgot this guy, or this guy's not a power forward, this guy's a center. I'll do it all in one video in the next one. Everybody work on your game. DreAllDay.com.